Welcome to the Business of Beautiful Spaces, a podcast that's specifically for interior designers and decorators. This is the podcast for designers and decorators who love creating beautiful spaces, but also know that building a profitable business is what makes it all sustainable. Hi, I'm Laura Thornton, and after nearly 30 years in the interior design industry and building a 7-figure design firm, I know firsthand how lonely it can feel running your own business. Making big decisions without a boardroom, without a business partner, or another executive team member to walk things through. That's exactly why this podcast exists. Think of me as your interior design bestie, the place you come for honest conversations, real action items, and a clear to-do list that you can apply today to move the needle forward and improve your bottom line. And if you can't get the answers you're looking for here, one-on-one mentorship with me is always available because no designer and decorator should have to figure this out alone. My goal with every episode is simple: to help you build a more profitable, confident design business and propel you into sustainable, successful future. So let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of the Business of Beautiful Spaces podcast for interior designers and decorators. I'm your host, Laura Thornton. Today's episode is one I consider a required listening episode for every interior designer, no matter where you are in your business. It's Client Relationships 101, how to set boundaries, how to stay in control, and how to create happy, loyal clients who will refer you time and time again. So specifically, we're going to talk about client boundaries, communication, forward-facing documents, staying in control of your process, and how to lead your clients confidently right from day one. Because here's the truth. Most clients' issues are not client problems. It's a process problem. And when you fix the process, everything else becomes very easy and very clear. So before I start, I want to reframe something. Being in control of your projects does not mean that you're rigid, you're cold, and you're inflexible. It means that you are a clear leader. Clients don't hire us to manage us. They hire us to guide them, especially when they're overwhelmed, emotional, and spending more money than they probably ever have before. So strong leadership is what makes our clients feel safe. And client relationships begin before you even speak to someone. If you have a scheduling link on Calendly or something similar embedded into your website, you've already set the tone that you're in control. You have decided which days work for you with your schedule, which hours you are available, how long your meeting is going to last, and how much buffer time you need in between for your schedule to work. This ties directly into the time blocking episode we did a few weeks back, which we talked about how if you time block, you always know what to expect and it allows you to free up more time. And this is a great example of that. I have 2 days of the week. Some in the morning, one day of the week will be in the morning and the other day will be in the afternoon. So this way, when someone goes into our website and they want to book our complimentary call, they have 2 options. And there's multiple hours within that option, but that's it. That's the option. So you make it work. And if it doesn't, then there is somewhere you can fill in the form. But no one has ever called me to say none of these dates work for me. They just pick one in the future that does. So you are saying this is how we work, and it works. Clients do not feel restricted by this. They feel reassured. It is something where it sets a tone right from the very beginning. So once you have that control over your schedule and what date and time works, you're going to lock in that appointment or however which way you decide to do it. Then you're going to send your first item to your client because now you have their email, and it's the welcome guide, your first leadership document. Once that initial call is booked, the next step leads to this welcome guide. It is not fluff. It is not nice to have. Your welcome guide is where you establish your professionalism, your expectations and boundaries before problems ever arise. It gives your clients a snapshot into you and your business and your process. It should explain your design philosophy, how decisions are made, how communication works, what clients can expect from you, and what you can expect from them. If you don't have a welcome guide yet, that's not a problem. We've got you covered. So I will have in the link here in the notes, I will give a link that takes you to our template for a welcome guide that you are welcome to use. You can download it and you can tweak it to work for you and your business. It's very customizable, and it comes right from our website. So you know it's safe, and I'll link that in the show notes and you can use that. So sorry, off track there for a minute. But this will give your clients confidence right off the top that you are probably going to stand out from the other designers they have reached out to. And from the contract to confidence, then from there, we're going to do a what to expect guide. So once you sign your contract, because You probably will if you're doing all of these things. You'll sign your contract. And then what I do with my clients is I send out a what to expect PDF. And it looks exactly the same as the welcome guide. All of my client facing anything PDF presentations, everything has a very similar, cohesive, branded look. But this document is a little different. What it outlines is our office hours, our response times, our approved method of communication, our office phone numbers, our emails, boundaries around those, meaning I don't give out my cell phone anymore. The only people that have my cell phone number are clients from 15 years and back. And that is how they would reach out to me. And that's fine because they're returning customers. But anyone moving forward does not have my cell phone. They have email and they have our landline at the office. And other than that, we don't allow text in the office. Text is not an approved way of communication in my office, only because personally, I don't find it professional. And when other vendors and other people reach out to me via text, I make it very clear that we do not accept this as a form of communication. I don't find it professional. I find it unprofessional, and that is my opinion. I don't know how to change it. I don't want to change it. That is something that I don't think is appropriate for business. So my cell phone is for friends and family only, not clients, not vendors, and not quick questions on a Saturday night. So protecting my evenings and my weekends doesn't make you also unprofessional. It makes you sustainable, and it's protecting your boundaries. And I feel like that's a really important thing, that it should stay business oriented. The document also should clearly define your responsibilities as the designer and your client's responsibilities. And clarity here will prevent resentment later. And as long as you've provided that for your client, then you know that, and they've read it, then we shouldn't have any of this overlap. The next thing I will mention too is after that what to expect guide, if our project does entail renovation, I also have a renovation guide that is setting all the expectations in writing as well. Basically, it will also run down things like making sure they understand they have to clean the room out completely before any work begins, protecting all your personal items, that we're not responsible for them, expecting the dust, the noise, and any delays, how to treat and care for their HVAC filters throughout this renovation, who to contact, who not to contact during construction. So basically, we run down everything that they can expect. We let them know that we will protect all of their floors. We let them know basic things that, of course, we've talked about during presentation time and during any conversation. However, as we all know, clients do hear most of what we say, but there's a lot of information and sometimes they'll question you later. So this just makes it that they have a document to go back and refer to, that we need everything cleaned out. We need you to take your personal items that are out of the house, like basic things that you think they should know, but just to make sure that you don't have any issues, put it in writing. So, and when these expectations are written down, they do feel natural and it feels neutral and it doesn't feel like you're attacking them. It doesn't feel personal. So that's another great way to set your boundaries and your expectations with your clients. So meetings and scheduling. The illusion of flexibility is what I like to call this. So this is where we can lose control without realizing. And instead of asking, let me know when you're free, in your email, let's say, you're going to say, here are 3 dates and times that we could meet. Which one works best with your schedule? And then you give the 3 dates that work best with your schedule and time blocking. So it looks like you're flexible, but you're fully in control of your schedule. And clients don't need to, if you leave it in their lap, you don't know if they're going to answer that email. So I used to say, you let me know when you're free and I'll work around your schedule. And haven't done that in ages because A, I wouldn't get the answer back and I was losing control of the process. But B, they could pick a date 4 weeks out, and I will repeat this till I'm blue in the space. The speed to the lead is a real thing, and you have to take control of it and keep them excited about the process and keep them in it, because as soon as you lose them, it's hard to reel them back in. And, we're at the end of January right now. And I know that before Christmas, we had all these clients that were jazzed and excited. And we try and keep everything locked down with like 5 days, business days for revisions on a presentation. But then the holidays fell in there and then everyone got sick. And so now we're working on a month with 2 different projects, and I can't get them back onto the excited train. Like, they were in it to win it. They were ready to sign everything. And now we're tweaking, and now they've had too much time. And now we've got... So you have to keep it tight, and you have to keep it scheduled, and you have to keep it within your process, because now these projects are bleeding into projects that I didn't allow to still have this one in our pipeline. This should be wrapped up and we should be ordering. We should have been in procurement, and now I'm still making some tweaks. So These are the things that will really help keep your schedule tight. So even though I'm telling you this, you can see how it does fall through sometimes, falls through the cracks. But the holidays come up and we do shut down for 2 weeks, and so does most of the world. And this is one of the repercussions of that. So just going back to making sure that you don't want your client to feel like they have unlimited options and that this process can go on forever. They want confident leadership. And so definitely try the 3 dates 3 times. And, I sometimes will say, if there's a preferred time for you or day of the week, let me know. Anytime between whatever it is to whatever I say 8 a.m. to 4, because typically a call will be an hour, and then it still allows me to leave my office at a decent time. But you work for what works best with you and your schedule. And as we talked about in a previous episode a couple of weeks ago, your time blocking. So I also do weekly check-ins with every client. Doesn't matter if it's renovation or if it's decor and design or if it's furniture, whatever it is. Every Thursday, every client in our office gets what I call a love letter. I have it in my calendar as love letter time, but it really is just a update on your project. And it's one of the most simple, powerful tools that you can implement is this email check-in. And even if nothing has changed, even if you just are saying, just checking, just letting you know that everything's on track. I hope you have a great week. We'll touch base next Thursday as planned. That's all that needs to be said. They know you're in control. They know that you have this. If a client ever has to write me and say, what's happening? Where are we at? Where are we on the process? When can we do this? There's a problem. That to me is a big red flag that we have not kept our client in the loop. They are not aware of what's happening. Something has gone awry. So that is a sign that there's a disconnect in your process and we need to lock that down. So your weekly check-in will reassure every client that your project is moving forward, that you are on top of things, and that they don't need to chase you. And these can all be templated. These are templated in my case. I have a template set up, and depending on if it's renovation or if it's decor, it looks a little different, but they're preset. All I have to do is fill in the blanks. And I even have some that say, nothing's happening. It's great. Just worded very differently. So it doesn't look like it's a template. And then we just forward those out in process. Like if it's 4 weeks of design time, we have 4 different weeks of, we're still working on your project. We're on track. We look forward to seeing you in the studio, things along that line. And this alone will dramatically improve your client satisfaction. So let's talk about decision-making, fewer choices, better experience with your client. Clients do not want endless options. They want confidence. Your job is not to ask, what do you want to do in your whatever room it is? Your job is to say, based on your goals, based on your design inspiration, this is the direction that I am recommending. Present one option. That's right. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 options does not make you a good designer. It makes you lacking in decision. So you can present 1, possibly 2 in your back pocket, and explain why this works. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll have something that's really expensive and I know it's going to be amazing, but I know it's also throwing off my budget, and I will have a backup option. Something similar, but maybe the fabric isn't as fabulous or the quality isn't there, whatever the case may be. But I always have a little something in my back pocket. Doesn't mean that I'm going to pepper the presentation full of all these extra pages. It confuses your client. So you need to explain the original one, and then you can always say, and if this price point is out of range for you, I do have a backup option. That comes across as a leader, and you can explain your options, but also you're guiding them into a decision. That is expertise. That is leadership. Too many options means you don't feel confident in the decision that you've come up with and the presentation that you're giving. Okay, a little pro-level additions that can really elevate your client experience. Consider adding a 1-page project timeline, snapshot, phases, no dates. If this is your process, typically so example, I'm just going to use mine for example. Our design phase is 6 to 8 weeks. So I have that written in our process, approximately 6 to 8 weeks, depending on project size. If it's a small bathroom or something, it could be smaller, but you're just giving averages. Then it would be, procurement phase, 12 to 16 weeks. Deficiencies, up to 4 weeks. So a client can very easily see that they might be in this project for 8 months. And then you can direct them once you know the scope of work. But also a client-facing F&Q document is also answering some common questions before they even ask. You can also have this on your website. And a thoughtful end of project offboarding process is also amazing to have. Now they feel they are not confused, they are not stressed, and they're not responsible for managing this project. You are. So being in control does not make you difficult. And this is not how it's going to read to your client. This makes you dependable. Just pausing so that you get, this makes you dependable. This makes your client confident in you and your process. Clients do not run the project. They didn't need you if they were going to run the project themselves. They want to trust the person that they hired, and it will build all this trust with them and confidence in you through clear systems, strong boundaries, and confident leadership. This will bring you referral after referral after referral because you're going to make the process so easy that they'll want to do it again. So if you found today's episode helpful, a free way to support this show is by giving us a 5-star or whatever star rating that you think we deserve on Apple or Spotify or wherever you're listening to this podcast. And if you have a chance to tell us what you think of the show, we would love to hear your thoughts, and we would love to help other designers find this show too. So if you're a longtime listener, I'd love for you to leave a review, share your favorite episodes so far, and highlight some of your favorites so that we can get some feedback on what you're loving. And I thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'm wishing you the best this week, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.